Hey, welcome to episode 8 of the My Inner Struggle podcast. I'm Laura.
Hi, I'm Julie. How was your weekend?
It was good. It was
Yeah.
good. Yeah. It was nice to get outside on Sunday, right? It was a nice day. Spent a lot of time with the kids. It was good.
Nice.
How was yours?
Mine was good. You know, we had our sports got canceled because the weather was crappy
Mm-hmm.
again.
What did you insert in its place? And were
Actually,
you sad or happy?
Nicole came over on Saturday and we legit watched 3 chick flicks back to back to back.
Sweet.
And had some snacks and some drinks, and it was I wasn't sad and inspired.
Okay.
Yeah,
You've been going nonstop.
Yeah, no, it was well, and I was feeling a little under the weather the end of last
That's
week.
right.
So,
Yeah. I don't know who gave that to you.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain it was Laura. But
Oops. Sorry. I love you.
but no, it was good. It was good. So our podcast today is all about living in action, right? And living in action can mean so many things to so many people. But before we kind of dive into it, it's funny that you're like, oh, my weekend was good. I just spent some time with the kids. So I have to share with you guys Laura's plans on Sunday. So I'm going to let her tell you the story, but living in action is all about what Laura did on Sunday. And a lot of divorced people, co-parenting, they kind of struggle with maybe being on the same page, seeing eye to eye, hanging out together, whatever. So living in action, I feel like you embodied on Sunday. So
I may actually cry as you're saying that.
Well,
I'm getting
tell
kind of
everybody what
emotional
your
about
Sunday
it.
consisted of.
So, I've been on my own for about 5 years. I've been, divorced, and it hasn't always been this way, but it finally kind of came to fruition, and it took some time for sure. But I have a really great co-parenting relationship with my ex-husband and his now wife, and we're kind of like a team at this point, and it's really neat. But on Sunday, my youngest had her gymnastics Olympics, and the 3 of us went to go cheer her on. We couldn't bring the other kids with us because there was like a limit on the people. So we went and, tag team like picture taking and all that kind of stuff. And then they came over and we barbecued actually and had family dinner. And it's funny because when I mention this to people, they're like, oh, or they'll be like, oh my God, that's amazing.
And I picture Three's Company. Like, you guys are all going to be living together and you're going to be working out.
You never know. I don't know. But it was really quite fucking amazing, honestly, if I may say that.
Okay,
thank
it's your
you.
show. Well,
so
it's our show,
we haven't done this exactly before, and it wasn't always exactly like that, but it's a process and we build up to that. And it's been really cool and a weird part of letting go of a lot of things too, right? Because as I'm there, because I, and I don't mean to say, point out the lack, but I don't have a partner, right?
Yeah.
So that can, I have like mixed feelings about it as we're at these sporting events and I see the other couples and things like that. And I kind of, breathe through it, take a deep breath. And I know, eventually I'll find my person. But at the same time, I am so grateful that we are at where we are, and I hope that, we'll continue to build on that. But I think it kind of started more of this closeness, as events were happening, like Matthew graduating 8th grade, and we all went out to dinner. And that was like kind of the first time. That was like roughly a year ago, right? And this is something that we've been kind of working at, the 3 of us. And it's, I don't know how they feel exactly, but it doesn't ever feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, of course.
And
and I have to say, like, just from an outsider kind of looking in, and knowing a little bit more than, the normal about the dynamics of the situation. I'm just so proud of you. It really, I don't think you appreciate what kind of an example you guys are setting for the kids. You really are, because you're showing them that even though you guys may not be together anymore, you're together on the same page. Especially when it concerns, the kids and their mental and emotional well-being, which I think is so important. You and I both know we're products of divorced parents, and
actually,
I'm not, but your dad passed away. So, when you were so young that, your mom was always on her own. So,
right.
But it's just so important. And, it's all about living in action and really really living what you say and
I
what you
think,
do. And I think it's really important to say that,
oh, thank you. You're seriously gonna make me cry. But what happened, because this wasn't always this way. And I am a creature of just sort of being open and putting things out there without a doubt. And I don't know, like when I it kind of started like 6 months ago or something like that, that I kind of was like, I need some help. So basically, the three of us that band together, we have a group text message and
Yeah.
we're sharing pictures all the time and stuff
It's
like
really,
that.
it's
And we're all on the
incredible.
same page. And when the kids do something awful too, we're like gossiping about it. And I'm like, can you believe this one or whatever? And it's really been quite awesome. And their new stepmom is great. I couldn't ask for anyone better, quite
Yeah.
honestly. And I've said it to her face as we're sharing wine together, and I said, I genuinely like you as a person, and she's a great stepmom, and I couldn't ask for anybody better to be a part of our family. But like, I don't really share this with a lot of people, but as we were getting divorced 5 years ago, I had sent him a picture because they were dating at the time. I had sent him a picture, and it was like a mom and a dad, and then the kids in the middle. So there was like a man and a woman, and then the kids, and a man and a woman. And I said to him, I want this for us. And that was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think we made it. We've talked about, maybe going on vacation together. I'm not sure how that'll pan
Wow.
out and if it will. I'm not sure, but like I don't know. They're
Yeah.
it's just works.
Yeah.
And when somebody that's, I'm dating, right? So I talk to a lot of divorced dads,
Yeah.
right? And they can be so angry about everything. And if you could just like let go of your own bullshit and know that, yes, it's great for the kids. And when I proposed, like, oh, why don't we do, because we were going to go out to dinner regardless to celebrate Evelyn, but I was like, well, do you want to like grill? Because it's actually nice out. And they're like, yes, and they look forward to their dad and their stepmom coming over for dinner because it's not the first time. And it feels really good not to feel like angsty about
Right,
it,
right.
Yeah.
And again, I think that all trickles down from the parents. It trickles down onto the kids, and it allows them the comfort and just the feeling that kind of everything's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Which in this day and age, and you and I have talked several times about kids and all of the pressures that they're under, and in this day and age, I think that that's really important.
It's one thing that you can control is
Right.
yourself
It's
and the
yourself.
way you react. And even if it wasn't a great or smooth separation, you can still put your bullshit in your pocket, swallow it for a little bit,
Yeah.
and make peace
Yeah.
for everybody. And
No,
it
I
helps.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Kids don't need all that extra stress
No,
at all.
definitely not. But no, I think that is a super amazing living in action moment because
Thank you. Every time you say it, I want to cry.
because you guys really did, and I think that it's really important to understand that, and so that you guys all know, the three of you know that's it's a really amazing thing. And I'm very proud of you. And we're moving on now. Enough about Laura and all of her greatness.
Thank you. So, what else did you have on living in action? I think you said you had something.
I do. So I have a couple of different ways. There's different ways, you can kind of live in act. Of course, there's a million different ways you can live in action. And there's different behaviors for kind of living in action. Some of the different behaviors are enjoying the mystery, which I really, really struggle with because I am such a planner.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of always need to know, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to do this. And then if this doesn't work out, I'm going to do this and so on and so on. But one of the ways that you can like really be present and really live in action is just enjoy the mystery, which is really difficult, but it is something that I'm really trying to focus on and better myself on. But it's a big one, a couple other ones are not caring what people think. And this one I'm pretty good with. I don't typically let other people get in my head, and I'm really comfortable with.
Can I do a funny about that one?
Oh no.
All right, finish your thought though.
I'm really comfortable in my own skin, and
you are actually. I really admire that about you.
I'm comfortable with because I try to lead by example, not even just for my kids, but just in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I would never ask somebody to do something that I myself wouldn't be willing to do, and I've always kind of felt that way. So that one for me is not so difficult, caring what other people think. But I know that there are people who really struggle with that. And
I have in some regard, but not like in the way you think
yeah,
necessarily. And I've struggled that with that even fairly recently, right? Because like changing jobs and
yeah,
things like that. And it depends on who it is. If it's somebody that I've known for a long time, I kind of hold their opinion higher than I probably should,
hmm,
as opposed to like somebody I just met,
yeah.
obviously.
And I think there's a big difference between holding somebody's opinion, close to your heart, and caring what random
Other
people
people
think
think.
about you.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's the funny part. So, I you're not far behind me timeline wise,
Right.
but I left my job like last over a year ago, almost a
Mhm.
year and a half ago, and started my business. And I think it was probably a few months ago I went on a date, right, from a dating app. And I have on there that I'm a business owner or
Mhm.
whatever it is in my profile. And I met this guy for a drink, and he was sort of semi-retired, kind of had worked for a long time, but kind of the company was in transition. So he kind of just took the severance and was like, I'm just going to see what the next chapter of my life
Okay.
is or whatever. And he was older than I am, but we had a good time. And I think I told you about this one when it happened, actually. So we had a good time. But he's sitting there, we're laughing, and he's like, so you own your own business? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, so, that's cool. I was telling him about it and everything. And he goes, so what do you, like, is that financially, is that a struggle for you, or how does that work? And I go, well, actually, I was wondering if you brought your checkbook today. Because the way he said it was like kind of like talking down to me a little bit.
Mhm.
And like because I can't exactly remember word for word what it
Yeah.
was, but it was kind of like, what are you doing for money right now? And that's when I made my joke.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard to, I let go of like, he's just some guy. It doesn't really
Yeah.
matter. But, when people are like, well, what, why are you putting yourself through that, or things like that? And I'm like, I've never been so sure about anything
Yeah.
in my life.
Yeah. Because why? Because you're living in
I am living in
action.
action. Which
It's
is
all
kind of a
about,
lie.
yeah. I mean, part of the ways to live in action is to try new things. Granted, this is not a new thing for you per se because you have been working on building this, but every day is something new.
Yeah,
Every
every
day
day is
we're
something
learning
new.
something new. We're discovering a different way to do something.
Right.
So it is like new things all the time. And another one of the big ways you can live in action is be spontaneous, which I think goes hand in hand with something new every day because it's so true.
I have to say, I feel like I sprinkle that into your life.
The spontaneous, I definitely have more
I've,
recently.
I've, I have definitely, I think, pushed you in certain
Yeah,
times, like out of that,
no, I
which
agree,
is
I would
kind of
agree with
fun.
that.
And
Yeah.
and that's the thing. Like I am a planner also,
Hmm.
but I love being spontaneous. And but there's a balance to
Yeah.
find with that as well.
Yeah. So two of the other things is be open minded.
Okay.
So again, and this all kind of goes hand in hand with
Letting go is the
letting
big part.
go,
Yeah.
being open minded to try new things, to meet new people, to discover new things about yourself or old things that maybe kind of got lost in the shuffle when you were,
Right.
working a job that maybe wasn't your passion, or when you're doing things that maybe don't bring you so much joy and you're just kind of going through the motions. Being open minded to find something new is really
And
key.
open to failure. I
Uh-huh.
know that
That's a
sounds
big
like
one.
backwards, but we fail forward more often than
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Really. Whenever to just be open to know like this is a learning process,
Hmm.
and wherever it leads me, I'm going to be a step ahead. It doesn't
Yeah.
really matter. I've tried launching, a couple different like courses before for
Hmm.
coaching, right? And it doesn't always speak to
Right.
everyone, right? So not everyone is going to be a success, but then there were some really successful ones.
Yeah.
You try things so that like what works and what doesn't. And as humans, as business owners, as everything else, we actually fail more than we succeed,
Yeah.
right?
That's true.
But it's that one formula that is successful, but you have to go through a million different trials
Right.
before you find that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's actually I'm gonna say my quote now because it
Okay.
just kind of ties right into what we're saying, and it says, If you don't like something, change it. And if you can't change it, change your attitude about it.
Right. I
Right?
always say
I
that
mean,
you have two choices.
yeah.
If you don't like it, make a change.
Yep.
Same thing.
Yep.
Or change the way you think about it. Period.
It's so funny because I do this a ton with my kids. They'll be complaining about something, and I'm like, okay, well, are you just complaining to complain, or are you actually going to do something about it?
Like,
and if you can't do anything about it, then let's look at it.
Change
then
the way you
let's
think
look at
about
a
it.
different way. Okay,
Absolutely.
well,
Those are your two choices.
you know, this is completely, you know, the actions of this one person are completely out of my control. I have no input over the way they're doing it, but I have every input over the way that I'm going to react to it.
And the way you think about it.
Right. I'm going to decide that, okay, well, I'm just going to do, you know, my brain right now is on my daughter, but like, you know, and we're having a struggle right now with something in her life, and it's been a constant. And finally yesterday I was like, okay, just, you're going to do your best. So you do your best. And if that's all you can do is your best. Right. And if it's not good enough for somebody, then that's their problem.
Right.
Right. I mean, you're doing what you need to do. So, but again, I think once you change your attitude, once you think about it that way, I'm like, well, okay.
Because mindset is everything.
Absolutely.
If you walk into something knowing that it's going to be stressful or, you know, whatever, like those are things that you have control over.
Right.
You have control over the way you're thinking
about it. Too. Because, you know,
to everyone
I
involved.
mean, and like this kind of ties back into so many other podcasts that we've already done, right? I mean, setting it, if you walk into something and you're negative about it already, then instantly
that's your outcome.
It's not going to be successful.
Exactly.
For you. But you have to really, think through, like, okay, this is going to work for me, and I'm going to be positive about this, and I'm going to meet somebody new, or I'm going to try this new thing, whatever it is. Try a new class, you know, take a new dance class.
Well, the more you expose yourself
to, I have to tell everybody.
Okay.
So Laura said, "Let's go for a hike." So I don't love snakes. Laura doesn't love snakes.
No, I'm petrified.
But she sent me a text message yesterday. Her daughter had gone for a hike with some of her friends at a local state park, and she sent me a text message of a snake, and it was a very big. It was like one of those black eraser snakes. I don't think they're not poisonous or anything.
I don't even fucking care. They're scary.
It cracked me up that after you sent me the picture, she's like, I'm so scared. I deleted the picture and our text message so that it wouldn't even be out there. I'm like, what? That doesn't even make any sense.
Because I don't want to come across it again.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's still in the text chain though, right?
No, it's not. I deleted it from our text chain.
Oh, I'm going to send it to you. Every day I'm going to send it.
It was fucking huge. It was probably 10 feet long. I'm not even kidding.
I showed Austin this morning and he was like, oh my God. He's
like,
I don't know what I would do. Yeah.
I don't know. And yesterday I went for a walk in the woods by myself. Before I got that, and I did see two tiny little baby gardener snakes. And at first, the first one was dead. Somebody must have like rode over it or something like that on their bike. And I was like, ugh. And then I'm like walking, and I'm like, I feel victim right now. and then sure enough, like within 2 minutes, I saw another one, and I'm like, okay, it's just small. I can get to where I'm going.
You know,
just
it has
fine.
a mom somewhere, right? That's big.
But then shortly after that, I saw off in the distance on the trail, like this big thing moving, right? And I was like, what is that? Definitely wasn't a snake.
Yeah.
It was a giant snapping turtle. So I literally, Emily loves turtles. So I ran to the snapping turtle and I got a video, like me heavy breathing, looking at the turtle. But yeah, love the wildlife. I'm too afraid. Now I'm like, but I'm not. I'm going to get over it because it is what it is.
Yeah.
Although I have, since I received said picture, I've considered now my walk in the woods when I'm by myself. I definitely am going to stick to the trail, like the where they had like the stone, not whatever.
Not the wooded trails.
Not the wooded trails. And if I encounter something, I'm just going to turn around.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Freaked me out. That was ginormous.
Yes. We're totally digressing.
Well, it doesn't. But you know what? No, it doesn't. Because I even have a note here. Like, people will doubt you. Things will scare you, right? We're afraid of certain things. You have to do it anyway. Am I going to stop walking in the woods because a snake may or may not come out at me? No, because I like walking in the woods.
Yeah.
I enjoy that. It is peaceful to me. It's good exercise, and I love where I live. So Am I going to stop doing it? No, but I'm
Yeah.
going to be petrified as fuck while I'm doing it. That's for sure. Um,
Do you use like a whistle or like if a bear, because we have bears too, like if you're alone, do you have a whistle for like
no, I
a
don't.
bear? Okay.
I don't. I come completely unprepared. In fact, I'm probably way too, um, what word do I like? Way too much of a free spirit sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I drove out to Buttermilk Falls out in Walpack. Have you ever been there?
Yeah.
Okay, so this was a few years ago, and I think it may have been like during COVID or something. Or
Okay.
actually, no, maybe it was before that. It was before that. And that road going up there, I think it was early enough in the season that it wasn't open yet. So I hiked
Okay.
up from the bottom.
Yeah.
So I was hiking up from the bottom and I'm like in the woods and there's no cell service out there at all.
Nobody knows where
And
she
I
is.
just like, I park my car, I get out and I start walking and I went a good like 15 minutes and I'm like, I have like nothing. Literally have like nothing. I have no cell service. I have nothing. And I'm like, I'm just going to go back.
Yeah.
So I went back, I hiked back down to my car and I wound up driving up and then there's some parking lots that are closer to like the falls. So
okay.
So it wasn't as far away from like escaping.
Yeah.
Or whatever, but I was hiking down along the waterfall and there was like this hollowed out part and I was like this is probably where the bear comes through. Pretty sure. But I survived. But yeah, I'm going to get some supplies now that we're talking about it. Yeah.
Just one or two things.
So actually, this is a good time for my quote, if we may, because I'm sure we're going to be wrapping this up. But part of actually before the quote, like living in action is, I mentioned this. I did a reel the other day about like it's doing things and having goals. It's way more than just like putting some things on a vision board. I think vision boards are one of my favorite tools to use to actually visualize what it is that you're trying to achieve. But you can't just put some stuff on a piece of paper and expect it to happen. You have to take those action. Yeah, you have to take those action steps to acquire what it is that you want, whether it's, like for me, it was freedom. And the fact that I can go out in the middle of the day and take a hike in the woods is I reached my goal.
Right.
And now I'm sort of at the point where I'm going to reassess and set some new goals. Yeah. So we have to take action steps towards those things that we want. So my quote I found says, "My ideal life is waiting for me on the other side of uncomfortable." When you take, those steps, right? If there's something that you want, we both left jobs where we made a decent salary and it was comfortable for something better because we both, and I know you said this and I've said this, I was meant for something more. And I love helping people. People are my passion. And if I can help one person today get to their next step or realize a goal or focus on something new or whatever, then I have won because that is the most important thing to me.
No, I think that's fantastic. And that quote it's so true.
Yes.
It's so true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Let's talk about next week. So next week we're going to be tackling decision making. So
that's a big one. I've had several clients that are like, how do I decide what? And you know what? I struggle with that too. And that is part of your letting go exercise.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. No, decision making it's interesting because sometimes you're like, well, what if I decide wrong? And that's true. You could, but what if you decide right?
Right. So if you can make an educated decision with the right information and how you feel about it.
Yeah.
You're going in the right direction.
So we're going to talk all about that next week.
Yes.
But for living in action, I just keep up the good work. You're doing a good job.
Thanks, man. You too.
Thanks. I don't think I have anything. You got anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Share with us. Yeah. Share with us your living in action or your
goals or anything.
And we would love to hear from you.
Make sure you subscribe to the My Inner Struggle podcast on YouTube and Spotify if you're a Spotify listener. Check us out on Facebook, the My Inner Struggle group, the blog. What else am I missing?
I think you're good. I think we got it all.
Okay.
Yeah.
We will see you next week.
Bye.